What's going on, everybody? Thanks for joining me today. Last week, I think it was, maybe the week before, I asked you all if you wanted to learn how to retarget people that have already interacted with your website or your landing pages or watched a video or any of those types of things. And so today we're going to dive into how to retarget. I'm going to give you guys several different options on how we do that. But before we get started, just let me know if you can hear me and see me in the comments. You should be able to see a big graphic right now as well as me on the screen. So just leave me a comment. Let me know if you can hear and see me and that we're okay. And if you guys are watching this on a replay, just comment with replay so that we know you were here. Awesome. We got tons of you in here. If you want me to be able to see your name when you comment, make sure you click the link in the description above this post so that it'll let me know who's commenting. I see somebody said hello, but I don't know who you are. All right, there we go. Now we got people jumping in. Chris is here. Awesome. Delmar Ray, what's going on? All right. Cool. So we got people in the room. Everybody can see. So let's jump in here. So if you've never heard of retargeting, let me know in the comments. I want to know if you've ever even heard of retargeting or if this is brand new information to you. So let me know if that's you, or if you are familiar with the concept of retargeting but have never done it. I want to know that as well. Okay. Retargeting is one of the most powerful things that Facebook allows us to do after we have our pixel installed. So this is not really a 101 level live. This is, you need to have some information and some knowledge of Facebook, because in order for you to be able to retarget people, you have to have your pixel installed, and it needs to be on your website. It needs to be on your landing pages. It needs to be on your blog post, etc. But beyond that, when you post something on your business page, you're able to, anyone that interacts with those things, you're actually able to retarget those people as well. Okay. Now there's a couple things to keep in mind when it comes to retargeting. You have to have a certain amount of people interact with your pixel for a certain type of event in order for you to be able to retarget them. Okay. So normally you have to have at least 100 landing page views for you to be able to retarget. And if you want to make a custom audience, let's say, for instance, you have past clients that you've worked with and you have their email and their phone number. What you would do, and I'll show you this in a second when we get into the behind the scenes stuff in Facebook, what you're going to do is you're going to take that and export it as a CSV file, like an Excel spreadsheet, right? And then you're going to upload that to Facebook. Now, if you only have 100 emails, Facebook's then going to cross compare that with which of those emails is actually being used as someone's login for their Facebook account. And so if you upload 100 email addresses, maybe 80 of them may be a match, right? So the ones that aren't a match, you're not going to be able to retarget those people. So if they gave you a different email address than the email that they have their account created through, then that's why it's best to also have the phone number in there, because if they use one of those two things for their Facebook, you'll be able to retarget. Okay. So that's one of the ways to be able to do it. And when you do that, you really need at least 100, but the more the better, because like I said, Facebook's going to filter that based on who actually has an email like that. Okay. So that's one way to do it. But we're also going to get into retargeting pages that weren't visited and all that good stuff. So let me go ahead and share my screen here. All right. Let me know if you guys can see my screen. I just want to make sure before I move forward here. You should be able to see my business homepage for my ads manager. If you guys can see that, just let me know really quick. Cool. All right. So within your Facebook business account, this is what it should look like. I know there's variations going on right now. There's like 3 different versions that Facebook has out, and not everybody has the entire version of any of those 3 versions. So try to bear with me. But for the most part, what you need to do is go into your ads, your business Facebook manager, and then you're going to go down to the audiences tab. If you don't see this big thing, there should also be like a menu on the side bar. And then some of you will have like a little menu thing with the 3 bars right here. You'll click that and then this thing will come out. Or some of you may also look like this when you click it. Okay. Either way, it's the same things that we're looking at. So you can scroll down here and see the same things that start off here. These are just my most recently used ones. Okay. So from this home screen, we're going to click on our audiences. If you guys have questions as I'm going through this stuff, just let me know, comment, and I'll try to answer all of them that I can live. And whatever I can't answer live, I'll get back to you afterwards. Okay. All right. Looks like everybody can see the screen. Cool. All right. So now we're on this audience tab. Okay. And what we're going to do is we're going to click this big blue button that says create audience. And what we're going to do first is we're going to go to the custom audience tab here. Then this screen is going to pop up here. Just want to make sure this is displaying right. Yeah. Okay. So then this screen is going to pop up. Okay. And these are all the different things that we can use as retargeting ability. So we have people that have visited your website, the custom customer list that we talked about, which is where you export all your past clients or your entire email list and you upload it to Facebook using this. Then we have the video where if you post a video on your business page, anybody that watches it becomes retargetable. And a bonus tip for you guys is if you want to be able to retarget people in your group, okay? As of right now, you can't add the pixel to the group unless you're like a millionaire with a huge following. But you can take a video that you post onto your business page and then share that post into your Facebook group. And then everybody that watches it from your group, you'll be able to retarget with an ad. And I'll show you how that works in a second. You can make audiences from Instagram accounts, lead forms, anybody that interacts with certain aspects of your Facebook page, if they leave a comment, if they interact with your ad, etc. So a lot of different options here, but let's just start with website first. All right, so first of all, make sure the right pixel is selected and that there's a little green dot here. If there is no little green dot, that means your pixel is probably not installed correctly. And it means that you won't be able to do this effectively, okay? So first thing we want to do is website, right? So let's say, for instance, people are visiting your website, on a daily basis, as I would assume most of you have some, general traffic coming there. Those people, though, they may get there and then they get a text message or a phone call or something that distracts them and they forget to fill out your contact form. This is where retargeting is pretty awesome. So you can click this little button here and we can either visit all web page visitors or retarget all web page visitors, people who visited specific web pages, visitors by time spent, page views, checkout, purchase, and lead. These are from your events. We're not going to talk about those right now. We're just going to talk about the websites, okay? So let's say, for instance, I want to retarget everybody that visited my contact page but didn't fill out the form. So I can select people who visited my web page. Then we can do the time frame of when they did that. So last 30 days, last 90 days, last 365 days, whatever you want to do. And then over here it says URL. So it's going to ask you what's the URL of this specific website that you want to retarget people from. And there's a couple different options here. Contains, doesn't contain, and equals. You always want to go with contains in my experience. Equals leaves room for error where if the URL is not exactly, or there's a masked URL or a redirect involved, then it won't track it correctly. So always do contains. And let's say, for instance, your website is lurayphotography.com. Then the only part you need to put here is the contact page. So it would be /contact, right? If my contact page was lurayphotography.com/contact, all I'd need to do is put /contact here because Facebook already knows what my website is when I created my account, right? So you only need to put the /contact. If you want to, you can put the whole website. I haven't found that it makes a huge difference. All right. So if I were to put my, Luray Photography page right here, Then I would name my audience. And I always like to name my audience with what it is that I'm doing. So um, maybe it's contact form views within last 90 days, right? So we can update this to 90, and we can put our contact page URL in here, and then we'll name this contact page views last 90 days. Okay. Then after I create this audience, I'll just go ahead and do this. People visit my website. Let's just go. I'm a slow typer. All right. Viewed website last 90 days. Then when I create this audience, it's going to say, great, we created your audience. Now, what do you want to do with that? You can create a lookalike audience or create an ad, right? So now that that audience is saved, next time you go into create your ad, I'll show you at the end of this where you actually select that custom audience that you built, okay? But in the meantime, I want to talk to you about this. So a lookalike audience is one of my favorite features on all of Facebook. So let's say we uploaded, or let's just take this example, right? So whoever's visited my page in the last 90 days, we created an audience of those people. What a lookalike audience does is it allows Facebook to take that audience and it'll look into like, what do they like, where do they shop, where do they work, where are they located, the income ranges, all that kind of stuff. And it's going to go out and find more people that are just like those people, your past clients. Okay. And that's why the pixel is so freaking powerful. If you have 1,000 past clients, you can literally upload that CSV file and then tell Facebook to create a lookalike audience. And it's going to take those 1,000 people and go out and find more people that are just like them that would be interested in your services. Okay. It's one of my favorite features. I get excited about it. Hopefully you guys get excited about it as well, because to me, it's unbelievable. Okay. So that's the first aspect there. Let me get back to my page. Okay. So that's one, all right? I'm not going to do the lookalike audience now because I don't really need to. I'll probably have to delete that as well. All right, let's go back and create another custom audience. This time we'll do the customer list one. Okay. Now, something to keep in mind for this is that when you export your past clients, the identifiers that you can use are listed here. So email, phone number, mobile advertiser ID, Facebook Apple user ID, Facebook page user ID, first name and last name. Most of you won't use any of the IDs. You'll use email, phone, first and last name. Okay. You need those to each be their own separate column in the CSV file. And they all need to be universal. So if you do a phone number with brackets over around the first three numbers, then every single phone number that you input into the CSV file also has to have brackets around the first three numbers. So make it universal. If, same thing, like don't do first name and last name in one column. Do first name in one column, last name in the next column, phone number in the next column, and then email in the next column. If you don't do it like that, nice and clean, then when you upload it, Facebook will be like, this isn't going to work. Okay. There's a couple things that you can do too. There's a download list template so that you can understand exactly how to do that. And then there's formatting guidelines, which is what I just explained to you. And they have a direct import from MailChimp, which is crazy because that's one of the worst email platforms in my opinion. So it's weird that they have a partnered integration with MailChimp of all of them. All right. So once you figure this out, then you would hit next, and then you'll be asked if you want it to include lifetime value. For most of you people, it's not going to be important for you to have that. So I would hit continue. That doesn't have the customer value in it. Okay. Then from there, it's going to have you upload the file and then name your audience like we did in the past one. Okay. So that's how to do the CSV file. Let me just pop over here and see if you guys have any questions yet. All right, so Chris said, when selecting create audience and then website visitors, Does Facebook find my pixel on all websites like Squarespace, Sticky Folio, and anywhere else it's embedded? Yeah. So when you do all website traffic, that's going to literally go out and find the pixel wherever it's reporting data from. So landing pages, blog posts, Squarespace, Sticky Folio, yeah, all of that. Okay. All right, let's look good. All right, let's get into the next part. So we're going to do another custom audience. This time we're going to go with video. So the way this works is this little bar will pop up and it's going to ask you to choose the content. So people who have viewed your video for 3 seconds, people who have viewed for at least 10 seconds, people who completed a through play or viewed it for 15 seconds. 25% of your video viewed, 50%, 75%, 95%. Okay. So what I like to do with this is if you look at your ad that you're running currently, or you look at the video that you're running, and 75% of the people that watched it, or most of the people that watched it viewed 75% of the video, and let's say it was a 2-minute video, right? Then you may want to use this. But for the most part, the higher you get up in the percentage of video views, the lower the audience size is going to be, because less and less people will have watched the whole video, right? And so for me, what I normally do is people who either completed a view at least 15 seconds, which is considered a through play. Okay. So we'll just select that one now. So we're going to retarget anybody. We're going to make this custom audience from anybody that viewed at least 15 seconds or a through play, which means they completed it. Okay. Then it's going to ask me to choose the video that I want. And for most of you, you won't have this problem, but mine, I have a lot of different accounts that I manage. So let me just go back to mine really quickly. Okay. So then I can see the different videos that I have in here. I can select one, confirm. Okay. So we're going after people that have watched at least 15 seconds or completed this video. And then we set the date range. So let's say it's the last 30 days. Then we enter an audience for that. And then we're going to retarget all those people. So this works really well when you want to run a brand awareness campaign with a video views objective, and you do like a behind the scenes video of a session actually happening or a testimonial from a past client. You put that out there and you let it run, for a week or so. Use however much budget you want to use, depending on how many people you want to see it. And then you would come in here and create this custom audience of people that watch that video, and within a certain amount of time, with an offer type ad, as opposed to just this video, right? So something more solid. So maybe you do, if you're boudoir, for instance, you do a behind the scenes video of a boudoir experience or a testimonial, and then you create an offer, maybe a flash sale or something like that, and you re-hit those people that have watched a certain percentage or at least 15 seconds of the video. Because what's happening there is that those people are expressing an interest in the video and in what you offer by watching it. And so we're gauging their interest based on that, right? And then we can create this custom audience and then send them a new ad based on the fact that they've already interacted with us. And what happens with Facebook is that they reward you for warming up your audience. So when you run an ad to people that have never interacted with your brand before, it's going to be the most expensive. But if they've already visited your website or liked your Facebook page or something like that, it'll be cheaper for them. Okay. So that's creating custom audiences from video. Let's see. I'm just going to check your questions really quick. All right. Brett said, why do unused lists I created in May show no audience size? If you look at my audiences on the screen right now, a lot of mine end up getting outdated as well. The only way they stay current is when you start using them again. So as soon as you select a custom audience, when you're creating an ad, it will update. Okay. If it's been a year since you've updated it, it may not let you use it anymore. All right. So you want to keep them updated. And I recommend updating your audiences once a month. I use a software called Entreport for my CRM, and Entreport automatically updates my audiences. So as people opt into certain lead magnets, that's going to update my lead magnet audience. As people purchase my courses, it's going to update those that people have purchased. Okay, that's kind of how that works. Jake said, how do you delay the retargeting ad? You run the first ad until you're ready to run the second ad. So if you run the first ad for a week, then maybe wait a week and then retarget them so that they don't get hit right away. Someone said, if your video is mostly watched for an average of 3 seconds, is that video worth using? Probably not. I mean, if you're seeing only one person actually watched it for more than 3 seconds out of like 100 people, yeah, your video probably didn't do well. But you'll also probably see that reflected in the metrics because it will be more expensive than it should be. Video view campaigns should cost you between 2 and 4 cents per video view. Okay, so they're super cheap to be able to run. All right, let me go back here and we'll do another one over here. We'll go to the Facebook page. All right, so make sure your page is selected up here. And then down here, you can select this drop down. So you can create an audience of everybody who engaged with your page, anyone who visited your page, people who engaged with a post or an ad, people who clicked any call to action button, people who sent a message to your page, or people who saved your page or any post. So normally I do people who visited the page and interacted with a post or ad or clicked a call to action button. If there's people out there that are using the chatbots that we teach about, and or you purchased our chatbot course and you're using that, you can actually retarget every single person that sent your page a message. So Jake, I know you're watching out there. This is you. Okay. I know you're killing it with the chatbots. You got your free engagement sessions going through them and stuff like that. This is probably your best bet, is to retarget all those people that messaged your page but didn't book with you. Okay. So you select one of these, same thing. You select your time frame, and then you're going to name your audience. I normally name this with whatever I selected here. So, engage with a poster ad in last 90 days or something. Okay. All right. So that's basically the custom audience. And from any custom audience that you create, you can then select it and then create a lookalike audience from it. Okay. But let's go back to the ads manager so I can show you how to use some of these. Is this good? Are you guys learning anything? I hope you are. Okay. All right. So let's create an ad. Now, some of you, it may look like this, some it may not. Okay. But the process is exactly the same. When you hit create an ad, it's going to ask you what type of campaign objective you want to do. So I'm just going to click traffic for right now. Continue. Up at the top here, you'll name your campaign. I'm just going to leave mine blank. All right. So then it's going to ask you, where do you want to drive traffic? We're going to keep that on website. We come down here, you'll select your budget. And then this is where you can either create a new audience by, putting in your own interest and stuff, or you can select one of your saved audiences. All right. So this is where they show up. So anytime that you have an existing audience, you'll be able to view them all here. Okay. So saw my offer page in last 90 days, lookalike audience of my 7-day challenge opt-ins, Facebook course purchasers, right? And these all get updated as we go through, right? So I have a bajillion of these because we have different audiences based on whatever the objective is that we're trying to go after, right? So let's just say I wanted to use my one where it's viewed website in the last 90 days. So I'd click on that. One thing to pay attention to is that the potential reach is not going to reflect correctly when you use a custom audience. All right. So don't worry about that. As long as you know your audience size was, at least 1,000 people or so, then you should be good. Retargeting ads, typically we spend a budget of like $5 a day. Okay. Because it's not a big audience. So if you set up a $20 budget a day, it's going to exhaust that in the first day, and then it's just going to start wasting your money. All right. So low budgets, select that. And then down here, you can still dial in some of these features depending on what you're looking for, right? So you probably want to keep the location to where your studio is located or where you're based. If you do the whole United States, then you're going to get people that may have seen your ad, or maybe something was shared organically. So somebody saw your ad, they shared that ad, and then their friend clicked on it, right? That lives in Colorado and you're in New Jersey. Well, that's not helpful for you. So you still want to identify the location with which you want people to see these ads, which may cut down on some of the people in your custom audience, because it's not a foolproof system. So some of the people in your audience may be located outside of your area. So the audience size will become a little bit smaller when you dial in the location. You also may want to tweak the age for the same reasons, gender depending on, and then detailed targeting. What I always do with a retargeting ad is I run one ad that is just based off of the custom audience, and I don't add any additional interests. And then I run a second ad set within the same campaign that adds in interests, okay? Because I want to know which one's going to do better. There's not an exact science to that. Sometimes the plain audience will do better. Sometimes the audience with additional interests will do better, okay? So that's how you do that. As you create your ad, you go, it'll show up right here in your existing audiences. You select it, and then you go through and finish the ad the way that you normally would have. All right. So that's kind of that. Let me see if there's any other questions in here. If you're targeting the people who viewed my website last 90 days, what happens if they came from, like, let's say Yelp? Because Yelp tells me that there were people who visited my website. Will they still be retargeted? It doesn't matter where they came from, as long as they hit your website or a page of yours that has a pixel on it. So they could come from Google, they could come from a Facebook ad, they could come from a Google ad, they could come from Instagram. It doesn't really matter where they came from. If they landed on one of your pages that has the pixel on it, you'll be able to retarget them. All right. Anybody else have questions? All right. Well, if you think of questions that come up later, go ahead and leave a comment on this post. But thanks for joining me today, and I will talk to you guys next time. See ya.